Hello everyone, welcome to Study Biology with Jisha. Today we are going to discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. If you like the video, please share and subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get more notifications in this channel. Thank you and happy video viewing. Good morning everyone. So today we are here to study more about sexual reproduction, and we are going to start the topic sexual reproduction in case of plants. So in case of plants we have two important parts. One is the vegetative part and the other is the reproductive part, and here we are discussing about angiosperms, which are higher flowering plants. The vegetative part consists of roots, stem, leaves and branches, while the reproductive part is the flower. The flower has two parts. One is the stamen, which is the male reproductive part, and the pistil, which is a female reproductive part. And on the basis of presence of number of reproductive parts, flower is divided into two types. That is, if both the reproductive parts are present in the same flower, they are said to be bisexual flowers, and if a single reproductive part, either a male or a female, is present, then it is said to be a unisexual flower. So now let us discuss about different parts of flower from your book. So this is the diagram of a longitudinal section of flower. I'm here, it is given the example of a bisexual flower. As you can see, the stamen is present as well as the pistil is present. So both the reproductive parts are present in the same part of the flower. So now this is the diagram of a stamen. You can see from here, I have drawn the diagram here. So here this is the diagram of the stamen. Here this part, this bulb like structure, is the anther, and this part is the filament. The filament helps holding the anther, and the anther is a part which from which the pollen grains arise as well as they are present on it. So this is the male reproductive part of the flower. Now we will discuss about the female reproductive part of the flower, and that is the stamen. That is the of a female reproductive part of a flower. So this part is known as a stigma. This is the style and this is the ovary. The stigma is the part where the pollen grains will fall and get attached, and from where the pollen grains will germinate and produce a pollen tube. This pollen tube will transfer through the style and will reach at the ovary. At the ovary there is presence of ovule, and the pollen grains will releasing the male gametes near the stigma, which is moving through the pollen tube that will enter into the ovary, will enter into the ovule. Inside the ovule the egg cell will be present. So this is the ovule, and inside the ovule there will be presence of egg cell. So egg cell is like this one is the egg cell, and nearby also many other cells are present with two polar nuclei. So the egg cell will be present, and where the fertilization will take place. So this is about different parts of flower and their functioning. Now for carrying out reproduction and for carrying out the process of fusion, which is syngamy, I said you there are some specific points that we have discussed in our last class. So the first point was the formation of gametes. So where will be the gamete formed? Now gametes in case of male gametes in case of flowers are formed in the anther. So if this is the anther, the male gametes will be formed in the anther, and that will be present inside the pollen grain. So if this is the pollen grain that is carrying the male gamete, and there will be around two male gametes. So there are two male gametes which is carried on by the pollen grain. So pollen grain carries the male gamete. So this is the pollen grain which is formed on the anther, and this is carrying two male gametes, and the female gamete is produced inside the ovule. Here is the female gamete, and there is a single female gamete which is produced in the ovule. So this both the processes are because of the result of cell division. So cell division occurs, and in both the cases, because the germ cells are haploid, I said the germ cells have to be haploid, and in this both the cases the mother or the parent body from which the germ cells or the gametes are coming out, both of them are diploid, and due to which meiosis, cell division or reductional cell division occurs and the gametes are produced. Now once the gametes are produced due to cell division, the gametes have to be transferred so that they will come close to each other. Now for gamete to be transferred in case of angiosperms, and generally in those plants which are unisexual, so I'm talking about plants which are unisexual flowers, because in unisexual flowers the problem is the male and the female reproductive structures are present in two different flowers. So the pollen grains from the male flower has to travel to the uh, stigma of the female flower to carry out the process of fusion or syngamy in future. So for that reason, these unisexual flowers, they carry out a special type of phenomena which is known as pollination. So pollination is a important characteristic of unisexual flowers, in which they, because they are not self-fertilizing, while bisexual flowers are for self-fertilizing. They have their own stamen, their own pollen grains are produced, and the pollen grains carry their male germ cells, and these male germ cells enter into their own stigma and they fertilize the egg cell. But in case of unisexual flowers, this is not possible. They are not self-fertilizing, hence they carry out a phenomena which is known as pollination. So in pollination, what happens, the pollen grains which are produced by the anther of one flower is transferred to the stigma of another flower. The process in which the pollen grains produced in one flower from the anther of one flower is transferred to the stigma of another flower. So in case of pollination, there are at least minimum two flowers are involved. So in this case, it is generally it mostly effective in case of unisexual flower. Now you must be wondering, does your bisexual flower do not carry out pollination? Yes, they can also carry out pollination, but they generally depend on self-fertilizing phenomena rather than pollination. But unisexual flowers have to depend or carry out pollination to do the process of reproduction. Now, so there are two types of pollination here. One is self-pollination, another one is cross-pollination. Now, in self-pollination, what happens? The stigma receives or the male gamete or the pollen grain containing the male gamete of the same flower. So in case of self pollination, it is the same flower, or it is like for example, in case of self pollination, the same flower is involved, same flower, and generally it is a bisexual flower which is involved, in which the pollen grain of the same flower's anther fall on the stigma of the same flower. But in case of cross pollination, which is a phenomena for unisexual flowers, what happens is the male gamete of present inside the pollen grain needs to be transferred from one flower to the other flower. So here there are two flowers which are involved to carry out cross pollination. So this is a difference between self pollination and cross pollination. In self pollination, the same flower is there. In cross pollination, two flowers are there. Again, the two flowers can be on the same plant or two different plants. Like there can be a plant which can carry a male flower as well as a female flower. For example, in case of pumpkin, in that case what happens, it is a plant which carries one male flower and one female flower. For example, pumpkin, it carries one male flower and one female flower. So here also cross pollination occurs. And another type of plant, in like for example papaya, in which there is a male plant as well as another female plant, means in that no other type of flowers will grow. In that case also we carry out cross pollination. So this is how cross pollination is occurring. So this is all about your pollination. So now the second step, which is transfer of gamete, is done. So the first step is formation of gamete was there. Then there was transfer of gamete by the process of pollination. Then next step is fusion of the gametes or syngamy. In fusion of the gametes, what will happen is when the, let's say this is the blue color mark which I am giving here, which is the pollen grain. Once the pollen grain reaches, for example, this is the magnified view which I am doing, and this green color which I am doing here, if you can see, is the pollen grain. Now once the pollen grain falls on the stigma, and this is the stigma, what happens is it produces a pollen tube. So this is a pollen tube which enters into the ovule. So this is how it enters into the ovule, and it carries two things. There are two male gametes which it carries. There are two male gametes which it carries. There are two male gametes which it carries, and these two male gametes enter into this into the ovule. Inside the ovule there is the presence of, there is presence of the this particular one, middle one, is the egg cell. So where the egg cell fuses with the male gamete, and one male gamete, there is the reaction is like one male gamete plus one egg cell will be formation of zygote. Then this is about one. There are two male gametes in the process. Then the other one male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei. So male gamete means this is a cell. So there is this nucleus of the male gamete fuse with the two polar nuclei which are present in between. There are two polar nuclei which are moving in the cytoplasm of the ovule, which you will read in higher class as embryo sac. So here there are two male polar nuclei. So there will be fusion and it will form endosperm, or either primary endosperm nucleus, and which will which in future will form other things. So these are the two types of fertilization which occurs in case of flower, and therefore in flower we are calling the flower as carrying out double fertilization. Now this is all about fertilization in flower. Now we will discuss about what happens after fertilization is over. Okay, now we came to know that fertilization is over. So the next step after fertilization will be zygote formation. So that is what is known as fertilization. So zygote formation is there. Now when the zygote is formed, then after the post fertilization events will start. So what happens after the zygote formation? So the zygote then divides into, there are four important bullet points here which I will be discussing. After the zygote is formed, the zygote carries out further cell division to form and divides to form embryo. So this is the first thing which happens. There is a repeated cell division of the zygote and it divides to form the embryo. So this is the first thing which will happen. Then inside, this whole process is occurring inside the ovule, hence the ovule will develop to seed. So the next thing which will happen is the ovule will develop to seed. Then the seed formation is over. Then this ovule is present in the ovary. So what will happen to the ovary? The ovary will develop to fruit. So the ovary will develop to fruit is the next thing which will happen. So now we will just discuss ovary. Inside ovary, ovule was there, and inside ovule the embryo sac containing the egg cell was there. So now when the ovary will be developing into fruit, at the same time the ovule would have developed into seed, and the zygote has already divided to form the embryo. So the embryo is present inside the seed and the seed is present inside the fruit. Then lastly, what other parts were there in the flower, which are the stamen if it is a bisexual flower. If it is a bisexual flower, then stamen. Along with that, there can be presence of sepal, which is a vegetative part of a flower, which is one of the parts of the flower. Then the petals, all of these things, they will with other parts will shed off. So these four points are known as the post fertilization events which occur in the flower after fertilization is over. So these are the four things. Now which we are having the seed which is covered by a fruit. So a seed, this is a fruit and this is a seed. If this is a seed and this is the fruit, then next thing what will happen is the fruit will help in seed dispersal. Now once the seed is dispersed, it falls on a soil, then it will start germinating into forming sprouts. So how the seeds will germinate, let us see from the book. Now this is a seed diagram which is given in the book and it shows germination. In this what happens, this is a seed. Once the seed germinates, it produces two things. These two are the cotyledons, and the upper part is known as a plumule, which will develop into the shoot. You can see from the diagram, the plumule develops into the shoot, and the radicle which comes from the downwards develop into the root. And generally the radicle development occurs first. than the plumule development, because it has to get affixed with the soil so that it can gain nutrients and water to carry forward its division process. So generally when you see a sprouted moong, you will see the white part which is coming out of the sprout, which is longer one, that is a radicle, and the shorter one which is there, which is a it is a plumule or the shoot. So this is there in your practical also. So in the practical you have to take a sprouted seed and you have to see the seed coat, the upper part, which is generally we can see this in a moong dal. The green color covering is the seed coat, the white color parts are the cotyledon, and the upper one short sprout which is coming out is the plumule, and the long white structure is the radicle which will grow into the root. So this is all about sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Hope this video would have been very beneficial for you for preparing for your half yearlies. Now this chapter is one of the very most important chapter, and these paragraphs which I have been explaining in this video is very important. So go through these paragraphs. Any doubt is there, please ask me in the comment section. I will be discussing it again if the doubts I will be discussing in my next video. Thank you and have a great day ahead.